Motorsport Gang. This is the official car for the channel, the official viewing for this car, and 5 things I dislike about the Jaguar F-Type R and 5 things I like about the Jaguar F-Type R. This right here represents the list that I had. I had this car for 2 months. 2 months ago, I had a list of 5 things I disliked and 5 things I liked about the car, you know? But with having this car for 2 months now, that has totally changed. Okay, KD Motorsport Gang, you know, just sit here chilling, thinking of the 5 things I dislike about the Jaguar F-Type R. And the 5 things is very picky and choosing things, because this car is all around great, especially for the price that you can get this car at right now. List for the Jaguar F-Type R, if I could get it, will be the door sill height. The second thing I dislike about the Jaguar F-Type R is the whole software system thing, man. So originally I was told, or I did some research to find out that there was a lot of more, going with the sounds, there was a lot of more cracks and pops and a louder sound originally, but because they came out with a new software update, which I believe my car has, it kind of softened the cracks and pops and the things that we love the most about the Jaguar F-Type R. So now it's all wacky. It's kind of like you have to have the air conditioning off. You have to be in gear. You have to be in sports mode to get the best sound out the Jaguar F-Type R. But boy, let me tell you, when you get that best sound, man, it sounds like no other car on the streets, you know? It sounds the best car on the streets once you get the best sound out of it. But you kind of got to play around with it in order to get the best sound. You got to put in dynamic mode. You might have to press this button to open the valves up. You know, you got to kind of turn the air AC off, you know, and you got to be like in the right RPM range, which I found to be anywhere from 2,000 to around 4,000. If you get on it and you let it off, you get pops and crackles, you know. It still sounds good, but you got to do so much to get it out. And that's the second thing that I dislike about the Jaguar F-Type R is the software update. Third thing that I dislike about the Jaguar F-Type R is this right here, man. Now in the 2021 they changed it to fully digital, which they should have been did this, you know. You had 2016 Camaros SS's that is basically fully digital. They do have analogs the same way, but the middle screen is way more larger, which gives you like a fully digital feeling to it, you know. So this is one thing that I dislike, is that the options, I don't really have many options to change the screen, you know. I really can't change it at all as far as I know. You know, when you go into sports mode, right? And here, let's drive it so I can show you. Now, if you go into sports mode, and let me get up to speed. If you get in gear, it'll tell you like that you're in gear. That's the most fun that I was able to see. But for the most part, I mean, you can't change that screen. Like with the Camaro, you have 3 different screens you can actually change to, and that's what I liked it the most about the Camaro, is the different options. With this, you just get this. The mile per hour thing is so down to the bottom and so low that I can't even really see how fast I'm going if I'm not paying no attention to that. And that's one of the main, that's another thing I don't like. I wish it was right in the middle where you could get the numbers and you could see how fast you're going big, because the Camaro had the heads-up display, which this does not. And that's another thing I do not like about the Jaguar F-Type R, would be the dash, the digital dash. Gang, you know. Fourth and fifth thing lastly that I don't like, that I dislike about the Jaguar F-Type R, and I'm really picking and choosing here, you know, I'm really having to pick and choose here, but the fourth thing, I don't want to spend too much time on it, is the turning. Compared to the Camaro, what I'm used to. Now, if you're not used to that type of level of cornering and turning and handling as the Camaro SS gives you, which is one of the best, you know, the platform that they're made on, then this will probably be the best handling car you ever had, you know. But since I was used to that type of handling, This car doesn't handle on that level, and that's one of the things that I have to get used to, but one of the things I dislike. It gets squirrely, especially if you got the rear wheel drive. It gets squirrely. You have to know what you're doing, which I do know what I'm doing because the Camaro also gives you that too. But going around a corner, it doesn't give me as much confidence as I had with the Camaro SS. With the Camaro SS, it was like I'm flat. I could go around the corner. I could hold it. I could even push it to the limits. With this, you're kind of like, nah, I don't really want to do that. Maybe it's a psychological thing since the car is so much more expensive that you don't really want to push it to that level and take that chance. But I have got almost sideways in this car a couple times, and I'm thinking it's because of the way that the supercharger delivers the power and the way that the power is delivered in it having more power than the Camaro, that it's easier for it to get away from you. Last thing that I dislike about the Jaguar F-Type R, and this is a very special thing, and this is different from any other channel that's done a dislike or like about the Jaguar F-Type R, right? This is very different. So the fifth and last thing that I dislike about it, if you go into the commercial of the Jaguar, the car was commercial and it was advertised as being, you know, the Brits, and the Brits are usually the super villains in different movies and, you know, stuff like that. They usually play the super villains because of the low pitch voice, the way they act, the way they're so sophisticated. If you go look up the commercials for the Jaguar F-Type R, you will see what I'm talking about. But that's actually damn near the same with you just owning this car in life. Now, I don't know if it's because of my demographic, maybe, in me having this car, a combination of both, but it seems like you get a lot of hate for being in this car. It's almost so much hate that the people start to hate the company Jaguar themselves. It's like, wait, do you guys hate the Brits now? Because I'm driving the car? So you get a lot of guys that want to go get a LS and slap a sound on it, and then they want to hate off this car because of the pricing. So it's almost like a Ferrari in that sense. You know, the Need for Speed Ferrari, how much does that cost, or what's the retail on one of those things, the famous joke that goes along with that. You get that same feeling with this car. You know, you pull up to car shows, everybody got their Hellcats, everybody got their GT500s, their Z06s, their 2010 Camaro SSs with a supercharger slapped on top of it. So they're kind of looking at this car sideways because of the look, because of it looks so good, because of the art. This is not the same as taking an LS something, a 2010 Camaro, slapping a supercharger on it and slapping some pipes on it and having the super loud. This is an art. It comes from the factory sounding like that. It's a piece of art the way that it sounds, that it actually gives you the sound of a cat. Not just something loud, but it actually sounds like a Jaguar. You know, so that's art. You know, it's deeper than 60 to 120 in this car. It's deeper than 60 to 140 in this car. Who could go down in a straight line the fastest? This car is deeper than that. This car is an experience. It's a valet experience. Now, a lot of people, those LS guys and those guys that like to mod their cars, they laugh at it. They say a valet, but they don't understand though, because they don't live that life, you know. This is a valet experience. This is when you dress your best, when you have your jewels on, when you have that beautiful woman on your arm, when you pull up to valet at the club, and they park this car in the front because it's so beautiful. Now, your 2010 Camaro, your 2014 Mustang GT with a supercharger slapped on top of it, super loud pipes, you're gonna violate that car and they're gonna put it in the back. It don't care. It don't matter how fast it is. It does 60 to 120 in 7 seconds. They're gonna put that fucking car in the back. But this car right here, when you violate, and those that have ears to hear will hear. You know, when you violate this car, look at the piano black. Look at the different functions. The seat bolsters that you could adjust. You can't put that in your build, in your modded car. It's going to cost an arm and a leg to get this material and to design it like that. All you can do is make your modded car fast. But this is so much more than just a performance car. Look at the leather. Look at the Alcantara suede. You know, but like I was saying, back to the valet, they're going to park this car in front because this car makes their club look attractive. It makes the club look better. It attracts more people to come into the club when they see this car sitting outside. When you valet at your hotel, your 5-star hotel, the Hyatt, the guys going, and I did this personally, so I know this for a fact. You know, the guys that violate your car, they get a smile on their face when you pull up. When they get to know they get to drive your car from one side to the other side to park it. Even though there is a valet mode too. You know, you can't put a valet mode in your 2006 C6 Corvette that's heavily modded. You can't put a Violet mode in there. You see what I'm saying? This is the character of being like the super villain. But even though I love all those things, right? The pictures, the people coming up, taking pictures in front of your car, the kids, the head nods you get. You gotta park it at the back of Shop and Save. You gotta park it at the back of Walmart because you don't want nobody to ding the paint. The things that I dislike, I love all those things about it, but the things that I dislike is the hate that you get. It's so much hate, and I'm learning to deal with it. It's so much trolling. There's so much hate. There's so much jealousy that this car brings because it's such a nice car that is in the category, even though those cars are one step ahead, it's in the category of your Ferraris, your Lamborghinis, your Porsches. You know, people either going to really love this car or they're really going to hate it, and they're going to look at you as being a douchebag, and they're going to make a lot of assumptions about your whole life just because you drive this car. They're going to assume that you're a materialistic person. Where everybody in fucking America is a materialistic people. This is a first world country. If you wasn't materialistic, go live in Mexico and see how materialistic you are. Guys with brand new trucks talking about you're materialistic because you got a Jaguar when they got a $60,000, $50,000 brand new truck. Why don't you take your truck back and just go get a Honda then if you're not materialistic? But they put that stigma on you, so you get a certain stigma that's on you from driving this super nice car. People think that you don't really know about cars or you don't really care about cars. They make a lot of assumptions. They make assumptions that you don't make any, that you're not helping anybody in real life just because you drive a nice car. You haven't done anything for nobody. People are laughing at you. Just all the different bullshit that I heard. Like you're making a whole assumption about my whole life, and you're putting me in a category almost as like a hedge fund kid category. They almost put you in that. Like, I worked hard for this, and I didn't do it off corporate world. I did it off blue collar. I worked hard to get this. But they put you in a category as if you're some type of hedge fund child that it was just throwing down to some punk that don't even know about cars and that's materialistic. So I hate that about it. And you're going to see when you get this car, you're going to get a lot of that, but you have to be very strong skinned to tune it out. So this has been the 5 likes. 5 things I like about the Jaguar, 5 things I dislike about the Jaguar, the introduction to the channel. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's KD Motorsport Gang.